Okay, here we go. Problem number 1. Name the set of numbers to which the following belongs. So, what kind of number do they even give us in that problem? They give us 1.68. What kind of number is that? Is it a rational number, an integer, whole number? Where would you place it? A. It's a rational number. Write an algebraic expression for the phrase 4 times the sum of Q and P. What does the word sum mean? It means add. So this is 4 times the sum of Q and P. So this one is D. Number 3. The total cost to rent a boat is 18 times the number of hours the boat is used. Write an equation to model this situation if C is the cost and H is the number of hours. What did y'all write for this one? Okay, I got 2 different answers coming in. So let's talk about what do you need to do. Obviously, you think we need to multiply because both of these are multiplication equations. Do you multiply 18 times the number of hours, or do you multiply 18 times the cost? Which one do you think? Hours. You're going to multiply 18 by the number of hours, so that's going to be answer choice A. When you multiply 18 times the number of hours, the answer to that problem is your total cost. Okay? Evaluate. So you're going to have to plug in, here's number 4, U plus X times Y. 18 plus 10 times 8. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see that. Here we go. So what do you do first? Add or multiply? And the answer to that is 98, which is C. Any questions on number 4? Number 5 says evaluate the expression AB squared. A is 4, B is 3. What do you do first for that problem? 4 times 3, that's going to give you 12. What's 12 squared? 144. Answer here is D. Number 6. What did y'all think about number 6? Did y'all think that was kind of a hard problem or easy problem? Have you ever seen this before in your life? You don't think? Okay. What they do is it's a formula to change from Fahrenheit to Celsius. C equals 5 ninths times F minus 32. And if you know F, you put it in right there and you work the problem. I've seen this a whole bunch on ACT, and it shows up a lot in science class. So they tell you here that it's 62 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're going to put that in place of F. So it's 5 ninths times 62 minus 32. Order of operations tells me that I need to subtract. And then I need to multiply that together. What's 5 times 30? Okay, so I get 150 over 9. Let me divide. I get 16.6 repeating, which also round to 16.7 degrees Celsius. Answer choice B. Number 7. Number 7 says 3 with a bracket, 15 minus 3 squared divided by 4 into bracket. What's the first thing you need to do here? Okay, so this says 3 times 15 minus 3, which is 12. What's next? Square that 12. 3 times, what's 12 squared? 144. And then you got to divide that by 4. You get 36. What does it mean for the 3 to sit beside the bracket?
You have to multiply.
Multiply, and we get 108. Answer choice A. Number 8 says 1/2 of negative 12m plus 38. Put a star by that problem. We haven't done any like that in class yet. I'll teach you that lesson after we take the test, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to work the problem. You're not going to be held responsible for this problem on the test, but while we're looking at it, I'm going to go ahead and show you what to do because it's really easy. You have to take 1/2 and multiply it by everything on the inside. So what do you get when you multiply 1/2 times 12, or negative 12? (1/2) times negative 12m plus, you're going to use 1/2 and multiply it by 38. Okay? We know how to work fractions. 2 goes into 2 once, goes into here 6 times, so this is negative 6m plus 19. Okay? Did you put a star by it? I'm not going to hold you responsible for it, but there's no sense in just skipping it right now. We can talk about it. Number 19 says absolute value of 18 minus 6. What do you do first here? And that gives you 12, and then you take the absolute value, and what is that? 12. 10, negative 5 minus c times negative 1. It's the same as 8. Put a star by it. Not going to be held responsible for that one on the test, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what to do. Sometimes they put the number at the end of the problem that you're supposed to distribute or multiply everything by. So we're going to do negative 1 times negative 5. What's that going to give me? 5. And then negative 1 times negative c gives me c. So they're really easy, but we're going to wait till we practice them before we test over them. 11. Number 11 says 4 times 20 plus 12 divided by 4 minus 3. What's the first step on number 11? What do you do first? You do your parentheses. 4 times 32 divided by 1. What do you do next? You got multiplication and division. You do whichever one comes first in the problem. So the next thing you have to do is multiply. 4 times 32 is 128. 128 divided by 1 is 128. So this answer is C. Questions on the first page? Number 12. Number 12 says negative 10z minus 28z. You're combining like terms. Both of these have the letter z, so you can combine them. You're going to treat this like a integer problem. If you need to add the opposite, add the opposite. Negative 10z plus negative 28z is going to be negative 38z. Answer choice B. Okay. Number 13 says, define a variable and write an expression for the phrase 4 minus a number. What did y'all put for an answer on number 13? A. Okay. 14 says, evaluate the formula B equals base times height divided by 3. This is the volume of a pyramid. Okay? Volume of a pyramid. And they tell you the base and they tell you the height. So all you have to do is replace the letters with their numbers. So the volume is equal to 9 times 32 over 3. Now, why does this say inches squared and this say inches? Did those labels have anything to do with the math that I have to do? No, they don't. This is inches squared because it's the area of the base. And the H says inches because it tells you how tall it is. Now, when you do the math here, and you do 9 times 32, divide that by 3, you get 96. And you multiplied inches squared times inches, and that's going to give you inches to the third power. Because you had 2 inches, and then you multiplied by another inch, so that's going to give you inches to the third power. What answer is that? D. Number 15 says evaluate A over B. So we have -6 over -2, and that answer is 3. 16, evaluate. X is 3. Now look, guys, there's a negative y. There's your negative sign. Now what's the value of y? 3 plus z, which is 1. What do you do first here? Okay, so that gives me 3 times -2, and that answer is -6. Alright, write an algebraic expression for the phrase 2 times the quantity. Let's talk about that word quantity. When you see the word quantity, I want you to know that it means something's got to be in parentheses. Usually, it's the statement that's behind the word quantity. So, -2 times the quantity, Q minus 3. Okay? Q minus 3 is to go in parentheses because it said quantity there. Define a variable and write an expression. The quotient of 6 times a number and 16. The quotient of 6 times a number and 16. So the quotient, what does quotient mean? Division. So we're dividing something. We're dividing 2 things, right? We're dividing 6 times a number and 16. And then since it said define, I want you to write let n equal number. Any questions so far? The chart. What do you think about the chart? What do you write for an equation? Remember, when you're looking at that chart, I want you to look across. And I want you to tell me what you're doing to change 2 into 44. And what changes 3 into 66. And what changes 5 into 110. And what changes 6 into 132. What are we doing? What math operation would change all of this into all of this? Multiply by 22. So what are we multiplying by 22? The D or the C? Okay. So D times 22 is equal to C. And you could have written it this way. You could have written it, as long as you're multiplying the D times 22. You can't multiply the C times 22. That's not the right way to do it. Number 20. An equilateral triangle has 3 sides of equal length. Write, or what is the equation for the perimeter of an equilateral triangle if P is the perimeter and S is the side length? Who has something they want to share on this one? What y'all write on this one? Tell me what you know about perimeter. That's area. That's how you find area. Okay. Perimeter. What do you know about perimeter?
You add all the sides.
You add up all the sides. Perimeter is like building a fence. Okay? And this is a way perimeter. That's perimeter. It goes around. Okay? Area is on the inside. So to find the perimeter, you're going to add up all the sides. Well, do you know the length of the sides in this particular problem? We don't know the numbers. What did they tell me to use? S. And they said it was equilateral. What does the word equilateral mean?
All the sides are equal.
It tells you all the sides are equal. So this is what the picture looks like. And how would you find the perimeter of that?
So you would,
You could. Yeah, tell me the two things you can do.
you can either add S plus S plus S, or you can multiply S by S.
You're exactly right. Those are your two options. The next question says a pair of shoes costs $52.99 and the state sales tax is 8%. Use the formula C equals P plus R times P to find the total cost of the shoes. C is the total cost, P is the price, and R is the sales tax rate. So here we go. I'm going to write my formula on my paper. I think I'm going to work it right here in this box. C equals P plus R times P. So C equals, what is the price? $52.99. What is the rate?
8%.
Do you write it as 8%? How do you write it? 0.08. And then it says, use the price again. What's the price?
$52.99.
Okay. Now, work the problem. You got to use the order of operations, and what is it that you do first? You got to multiply, so 0.08 times 52. Turn this on. I get 4. Now this is money. Don't you know that's $4.24? Right? And then, what's the next thing we do? So I get 57.23 for an answer. Questions on that problem? The next one says write the number 2.4 in the form of A over B using integers to show that it is a rational number. Did y'all know how to do that one? What did you think about it? Couldn't figure it out. Can you read that number to me properly? I mean, I say 2.4, y'all. That's really not the right way. I should say 2 and 4 tenths. So we're calling this 2 and 4 tenths, right? Is that what we said? Can you change that mixed number, now that I've got a little fraction attached to it, can you change it into a fraction that doesn't have a mixed number, an improper fraction? Can you do that? How would you do that?
You would just do the 2 times 4.
Do you do 2 times 4? What do you do? 2 times what? What's 2 times 10? Plus the 4. So it's 24 over 10. That's the answer. Okay. 23. Oh my goodness, look at that problem. Did y'all think that was ugly? You put it in your calculator? Okay. Tell me what you did. Tell me what you typed. You put the whole thing in at one time? Okay.
I did it all separately.
You did it all separately. Okay. Tell me how to do that.
Me?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. You put 2 in, and then you go up and do your exponent.
And that button is right here, y'all, under the word clear. It's a rooftop button. And you put what number up there?
5.
5. Okay.
And then minus 3, and then put in parentheses 4.
Now notice that I had to use my sideways button to get from the exponent back down to the normal stuff. And what'd you get for an answer there?
I got 20.
20. Okay, good. Let's go to the next one.
Negative 4 divided by negative 1 parentheses plus 3.
Okay, what's the calculator going to do first? There's nothing really in parentheses, so it's going to do the division. That's what it's supposed to do. What do you get for an answer there?
7
7. Okay. What'd you do about the 1/4 and the 2 1/3? How'd you handle that?
I think I did 1/4 times 2 1/3.
How'd you enter 2 1/3?
I went up to the alpha and then went to the y equal button and then push 2. Yeah.
Okay, wait a second. Okay. You hit alpha, alpha, y equals,
And press 1 for 2.
and press which one did you choose? 2. I want you to know, this is the first time I've ever seen that in my life. Yeah. I learned something today. They said you learn something every day. Okay, go ahead, I'm listening. Y'all pay attention to this? College algebra students, did you know this would do this?
I figured y'all know that.
Alright, let's start again. Let's do it again. Okay, go ahead, Lucas.
Alright. 1/4
Uh-huh.
and then go up and push alpha and then
Press
push
alpha.
y equal.
Hang on. Alpha, 1/4 times alpha y equals. Now looky
And then
there.
press 2.
2. We choose 2 because we need a whole number, a numerator, and a denominator. That's mixed number. That's strictly fraction. Okay. And then we can enter 2 and 1/3.
I've been struggling my whole life with that. Okay, so I don't need to know.
It's on the. We're live. We're recording live, so now the whole world knows. It's on YouTube. Now, this is not the way we leave it. It's not the way we leave it. So what do we do to make it to a fraction? Math, enter, will get you back to a fraction at 7/12. Okay, let's do the next one. Okay, Lucas.
Alright. Oh, you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna go back up to alpha.
Alpha.
And press y equals. Press 1.
1.
And then put in 14 plus -7.
Okay.
And then go down 6 and then go over.
Is it alright if you check that at -0.5?
Sure. Yeah. Now this one over here that was some weird looking. No, we want to go ahead and make it a fraction, but yeah, as long as you know how to go in between them. Now, if I wanted to turn that into a decimal, I could hit math and go down and choose change to decimal. That's the second option, and it would do that for me. I know y'all know what that one is, but well, I'm very impressed. Okay, let's do 24. Anybody know how to get the absolute value bars on a calculator? Anybody? Second, 0. Second, 0. It brings up the catalog, and absolute value is listed first because everything's listed alphabetically. So if you hit enter, it's going to put absolute value bars on your screen, and then you enter your problem. Okay, now this is what this says. Absolute value of. Now look, y'all pay attention, okay? There's a negative sign in front of the x, and then I have to put a -2 because that's x's value. You see how that ends up with 2 negatives? -2 times 3. Okay, I'm going to enter that on the calculator. -2 minus 2 times 3. And what's my answer? 4. Okay, 25. Last one and we're done for today. Who wants to help me work 25? We're going to work it out by hand. I know y'all know how to do it on the calculator. But what if I said you had to show every step? You would want to know how to do that. So what's the first thing you need to do here? Exponents. And what's 3 times 3 times 3? 27. 27 times 32 plus 12 divided by 4. Okay? What's next? And I can go ahead and do 12 divided by 4. So this answer is 867. Okay. I want you to finish the study guide, so you need to do 26 through 41. That's leaving you about 16 problems. 16 problems. We're going to go over it in class Friday. At lunch today, I'm going to make a video for the second half of this and post it on YouTube. So video 1 will be up, and video 2 will be up. You don't be here tomorrow. I want you to be able to look at that. Don't cheat and go straight to the video. Okay? Go on and work it out. And then if you want to check it, if there's something you're not sure about, you'll have that as a resource. Okay? Keep going. Rain blood.